The brutal killings of non-locals continue in Kashmir after the murder of banker Vijay Kumar in broad daylight. Two labourers were shot at late last night in Budgam. One of them, Dilkhush Kumar from Bihar, succumbed to his injuries. The area has been cordoned off and a search is underway to nab the terrorists. The attack comes only hours after bank manager Vijay from Rajasthan was shot dead in Kulgam. He was shot right outside his office. Amid repeated attacks on non-locals and Kashmiri minorities, Home Minister Amit Shah will chair a key security review meeting today. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha along with other senior members of the administration will be present in the meeting, where security arrangements for the upcoming Amarnath Yatra will be discussed. Earlier, Home Minister Amit Shah also chaired a meeting with NSA Ajit Doval over the targeted killings in the Union Territory. There would be this in fact would be the second such meeting in less than a fortnight as the situation worsens in the valley.
सिलेक्टिव टारगेटिंग से हिंदुओं को मारा जा रहा है, कश्मीरी पंडितों को मारा जा रहा है। कौन से दावे हैं? सरकार टोटली नाकाम है और जो दावे थे कि 2019 के बाद हालात बदल गए, स्थिति जो है हमारे काबू में पूरी तरह नियंत्रण में है, सिर्फ संख्या और आंकड़े गिरने से नहीं है और ये बहुत ही गंभीर चिंता का विषय है।
अलग अलग वारदातों में लगभग 7 लोगों की हत्या होना निश्चय ही चिंता का विषय है। इस प्रकार की हत्याओं का सिलसिला आम व्यक्ति को और पूरे देश भर में एक गलत मैसेज जाता है। उम्मीद करनी चाहिए कि सुरक्षा बलों पर विश्वास के साथ और गृह मंत्रालय की जो विल है, जो उनकी इच्छा शक्ति है, जल्द ही इस पर कोई एक्शन होगा और ऐसे लोगों को माफ़ नहीं किया जाएगा कि नई रणनीति बनाने की ज़रूरत है।
My colleague Ashraf Ani is now joining me live from Srinagar on this. Ashraf, how is the security establishment preparing itself ahead of the Amarnath Yatra? Because these targeted civilian killings, especially of the minority community, continue in the valley and have only risen in the recent months.
Absolutely, Polami. Basically, this year's Amarnath Yatra is going after the abrogation of Article 370. We know that Amarnath Yatra was suspended midway when the 370 article was abrogated. Jammu Kashmir was converted and divided in the Union territories. And then it is the first time when Amarnath Yatra is to be conducted by the Jammu Kashmir government and the center government. That is why we have seen for last so many months there are the preparations for this year's Amarnath Yatra, as government said that it will be the record number of pilgrims who will be visiting this year to the Amarnath shrine. Now, in fact, this is now during the last few weeks we have seen after one and another there are targeted killings. In fact, during last 24 hours we have seen 2 innocent people killed in the attacks who were targeted. One in the Kulgam who was the bank manager from Rajasthan, then another labor who was killed in the Budgam district's Chadura area. Now that has given a big challenge to the authorities and the security establishments, but despite all these odds, the Jammu and Kashmir government is prepared for this year's Amarnath Yatra, and same is going to be discussed in the high-level meeting which is chaired by the Home Minister himself, and all the top security establishment will be present in that meeting, including the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, that is Manoj Sinha.
Right. Ashraf, thank you so much for joining us, and that in fact is the situation on the ground in the Kashmir Valley, which is very, very worrisome, as a result of which the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, will be in fact chairing a meeting today where the top bosses of the security departments and establishment will be present over there, and also the LG of Jammu and Kashmir, Mr. Manoj Sinha, will be present as well. They will be reviewing the security preparedness of the establishment ahead of the Amarnath Yatra, which is to commence on June 30th, because that is going to be a long yatra, and in fact ensuring the security of the civilians who will in fact reach Kashmir for this is going to be extremely significant, and giving the worrying developments in the valley, it is of course going to be critical as well. A group of Kashmiri Pandit employees who were in fact given jobs under a Prime Minister's package for the community are preparing for a mass migration out of Kashmir. They have also decided to boycott this year's Kheer Bhavani festival on June 8th. Here's more.
Kashmiri Pandit government employees who are settled here in the Kashmir Valley had given a call to migrate from the Kashmir Valley to their Jammu Jagti camp from Friday. Today early in the morning we reached in this Sheikhpura migrant camp, which houses almost 230 Kashmiri Pandit families and is in fact one of the biggest migrant, or we can say transit camp, for the Kashmiri Pandit government employees in the Kashmir Valley. There is not only this one housing colony which has been constructed for the Kashmiri Pandits in 2008, but in fact in each district headquarters there are this is the main housing colony of the Kashmiri migrant Pandits government employees. Then there is also one in the Anantnag in Mutton, one in Vesu, Kulgam, then another Hal village of the Pulwama district, and also in the Ganderbal. Almost all these housing facilities were created for 800 families across the Kashmir Valley so that they could settle there. But after the recent targeted killings in different parts of the Kashmir Valley, including that of Rahul Bhatt, who was a government employee in the revenue department and in fact residing here. We have with us one of the employees and a Kashmiri Pandit with us. We will talk to him. Please tell me your name.
Vinod Kaur naam hai.
Vinod ji, you are the resident of the Jammu and Kashmir, where a Kashmiri Pandit. You reside here since 2010. What compelled to these all families to migrate from here? In fact, you had given a call that from Friday you will start migration from the Sheikhpura to the Jammu. Has that been halted or it is going on?
The migration has been started. 5-6 families already migrated from this colony. Now more are starting. We are ready to move from here.
Hunted and haunted. That's how Kashmiri Pandits living in the valley feel right now. The killing of Vijay Kumar triggered a fresh wave of anger and protests in the valley. Hindus employed in Kashmir are now demanding that they be relocated to safer areas. Some have already started leaving, triggering fears of another exodus.
Packing up their belongings, leaving their homes. In Anantnag's Matan, Kashmiri Pandits employed under the PM package who had come to work from Jammu are departing.
आज मटन के इलाके से भी 20 गाड़ियां निकल चुकी है. आज एक प्रेग्नेंट लेडी को निकलना था क्योंकि डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन हमें रोकने आई थी. उस दौरान एक प्रेग्नेंट लेडी की कंडीशन थोड़ा ज़्यादा ख़राब हो गई. उसको हमने जम्मू भेजना था, उसको रोका गया. लेकिन फिर जैसे तैसे करके सिक्योरिटी फोर्स से क्लैश करके हमने उसको भेज दिया.
Series of targeted killings has triggered fears of another exodus. Hunted and haunted, these Kashmiri Pandits are preparing for mass migration.
हम पिछले 22 दिनों से प्रदर्शन पे हैं और एम्प्लॉयज की डे 1 से एक ही डिमांड है कि हमें सुरक्षित यहाँ से निकाला जाए, हमें सुरक्षित यहाँ से निकाला जाए. तो आज जिस तरीके से एक और किलिंग होती है, परसों एक और किलिंग हुई थी रजनी बालाजी की, जिस प्रकार से निर्मम हत्याएं हो रही है, हम प्रशासन से पहले दिन से जब राहुल भट्ट की किलिंग हुई थी तो डे 1 से हम यही बोल रहे हैं कि हमें यहाँ से सेफली निकाला जाए.
कश्मीर में आम आदमियों की मौत जा रही है, आम जाने जा रही है, कश्मीरियों को मार दिया जा रहा है. इसमें आम आदमी मारा जाता है, कश्मीरी मारा जाता है. अगर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन अब भी कदम नहीं उठाएगी, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन तहफ़्फ़ुज़ नहीं देगी, तो हम क्या अमेरिका से तहफ़्फ़ुज़ मांगेंगे?
कंटिन्यूसली सिविलियन किलिंग हो रही है, इसलिए बैठे हैं इधर. देखिए, कल भी एक हमारी बहन की जान चलेगी, आज भी एक भाई की जान चलेगी. उसके लिए एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कहाँ है, क्या कर रही है एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन? यहाँ एक आम कश्मीरी रोज़ मर रहा है, इसलिए हमारा पोटेंशियल.
If there is fear, there is also anger. Anger against government inaction and lack of security.
There is no end to the targeted killings in the Kashmir Valley, and behind me you can see that protests are taking place here in Jammu city. These are the protesters. They are the government employees belonging to the Dogra Hindu community, and they are currently serving in the Kashmir Valley. But due to the prevailing security situation, they have fled from the valley and they are here.
7 killings in the last 26 days. Who will save Kashmir's innocence? With Sunil G. Bhatt in Jammu, Bureau Report, India Today.
Civilian killings are on the rise across the valley. 8 people have been killed in the last 27 days, creating a panic-like situation in Jammu and Kashmir. Pak-sponsored terrorists have changed their tactics to unleash terror in the valley. They are now resorting to the use of pistols for targeted killings and not AK-47. These pistols, in fact, have become the newest challenge for security forces in the Kashmir valley ahead of the busy tourist season amid the Amarnath Yatra. Earlier in May, Srinagar police arrested 2 hybrid terrorists from TRF, an offshoot of the Lashkar-e-Toiba. According to reports, as many as 15 pistols were seized from them. Weapons were dropped along the border via drones from across the border. Recovered weapons are US-made Stoiger STR-9S combat pistol.